You already know, Glows, it's your boy Kadeem, and I'm gonna be doing this interview, answering your interview questions like this. So with no further ado, I'm gonna get started. I believe the first question is if I could share a bit about myself and my experience. My experience is basically, I grew up in a very tough neighborhood, the Rexdale community, and while growing up in that environment, I was exposed to violence, drugs, sex. I mean, it's that was the way of life in that community, but I always found myself at a very specific young age, despondent, like there was something missing, like there was a void, and I didn't know how to repertoire and harmonize that feeling properly. So basically, I found myself lost in the narratives that the streets had to offer. During that time, I managed to be incarcerated. At my first charges were at like 13. I was incarcerated by 13 and 3/4, and the cycle just started and started and started, or kept going and kept going. Once the cycle started, it just kept going and going and going, and finally, I believe I was 19, or no, I was 20, and that's when some things happened. I was shot, and life just changed. So at the end of the day, those are just some of my experiences. I got a lot of experiences, but the main lesson that I learned, and I believe that this segues right into your second question, which is what did I learn from my experience? And throughout all my experience, through all the violent occurrences, through all of the incarceration periods, through all of the struggles, through all of the dark days, through all of the days where everything felt impossible, one thing that dawned on me was to never give up, was to actually be very resilient. I believe resiliency is key on anybody's journey. It doesn't matter if you're in a place of isolate. It doesn't matter if you're in a place of light. I believe that resiliency, having that ability to be resilient and knowing your willpower and having the free will to know that you're not supposed to give up, that could do amazing things. And having that willpower to not give up literally, I believe, sets me apart from a lot of individuals, because I don't know how to give up. Sometimes I lose my focus, but I just don't know how to give up. Like I will not give up. So that is something that resiliency is definitely what I've learned along my journey. I've also learned that your emotions have to be under control. You can't go sporadically all over the place with your emotions. And with the high level of trauma that I've endured, that is actively something that I'm still working on. But I know that it's not good to, have your emotions just distraughtly all over the place. So that is another thing that I've learned. And I've learned that it's better to, yes, be resilient, overcome, but be the victor, not the victim. Because when you consider yourself the victim, you basically think that you deserve everything and everything should come to you. So you lose the essence of working hard. You lose that foresight. You lose that. But when you look at yourself as the victor, you look at yourself as a champion, then everything just starts to change. You start to be like, yeah, I gotta go get this. I gotta make this happen. I gotta create this pathway. I gotta illustrate this vision for myself, you know. So those are a couple things that I've learned along my journey. What inspired me to create the first 7 steps was I just knew that I always inspired to change. I always inspired to do better. I was basically involved in a program with one of my deceased friends. You already know, Glows. Rest in paradise, Sam Boache. I love you, and through everything, man, man, you already know. So I was going through that program with him, and it was the Youth Justice Education Program, funded by the African Canadian Legal Clinic or whatever, and just having that opportunity, that had a big influence on my life, because I was able to see a different side of the fence, a different side of the field, getting up to have a normal 9-to-5 work life, learning about my Afrocentric history, knowing what it is to be a melanated black man. All those things made me, it was like a seed planted, but it didn't start to grow right away. I went back to that street life, and I got myself caught up, got charges, went to jail. But over time, it started to manifest, and it started to grow and grow. And the more I got into trouble, the more that I felt like I was doing things wrong, the more I felt that I could be doing better, that I really didn't have to be doing this or what I was doing. And just hit. I got, a violent situation occurred. And after that violent situation occurred, I was arrested for a firearm, and I was in jail. And I told myself that I'm not good at this, not how I want to live my life. I told myself that there's more to life than just what I'm doing. I told myself that I know, for me personally, I know I could do better. And right now, the process, going through the motions in the process, is still hard. But we're not giving up. We are standing strong. We are standing grounded, and we are standing in faith. And that's the key thing. Failure, when you fail at something, you have to count that as a victory, because all your failures are going to turn you into that champion. Or every time you fail, it makes you better. It's like boxers, when they are preparing their core, and they're working on their core. A lot of boxers have rock solid core, because they get individuals to punch their stomach or their core and their solar plex and everything. But what happens is you build like a callus. You build calluses around your midsection, and this swelling and the impact from it makes the core strong. So with that being said, every time that you fail, or every time that I failed, I've always gained a bigger strength and purpose. I might not be able to see it in that specific moment, but give it a little bit of time, and you'll be able to see that purpose. The first 7 steps was basically a thought. It was just simply a thought, several thoughts that in my heart I know assisted me in making the decision to change. It was 7 key principles to me that allowed me to see and envision a transition. And I was in jail. I was being incarcerated, and I just started writing these things down. I started writing it down, and all of a sudden I just started to create, you know, this idea of how to bring these same 7 principalities that help me transition my state of mind. How could I use those same principles to help other people? And that's where the first 7 steps came from. And it's impacted people from an incarceration standpoint, a street standpoint. It's impacted me because I'm honestly, it's coming to life. You know, it's taking its process, but it's coming to life. And because it's coming to life, I feel ecstatic, I feel happy, and I know that, number one, God is good, because if it wasn't for him, none of this couldn't be happening. Honestly, words of wisdom and encouragement that I'd give to a young person, a youth, that is to have a vision, have a long-term vision from your short-term age. All right, that's your teenage years, and from your 12 to 18, 19, and then you transition into an adult. When you transition into adulthood, have a long-term vision from your short-term age. That's the best words of wisdom and encouragement I could leave a young person with.